Well, once again, live from Moore Gymnasium on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Tonight's second matchup between the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the Florida A&M Rattlers is on the air. Hello and a very warm welcome and Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Michael Giuello, happy to have your company. Henson White is along for the ride. We just witnessed a thrilling 4-point win for the Lady Wildcats as they start conference play 1-0, and we're hoping that inspires the men to do the same against their arch rivals from the highest of Seven Hills.
Yep. So for the Rattlers, Keith Lamar is their main focal point on offense. He is their leading scorer this season, averaging 14.3 points per game, so look for him to set the tone for the Rattlers. Also look for Grant Shannon to be in the paint and the low post all game. He is listed at 6'10", get this, 300 pounds, and will be an interesting force, especially against Elijah Holsway and this kind of tall, lanky Cookman team. A majority of the team for this Rattler side is from Florida, or at least the South, with a couple players from DC, Tennessee, Ohio, and stuff like that. They're also very tall across the board, with the majority of this team over that 6'3" mark. So look for height to not be as much of a factor as it has been in some of our past games this season. And this FAMU team is very seasoned. A majority of this team are seniors and juniors. So look for them to play hard in this big-time rivalry game, because for some of them, it's their last time maybe playing in this rivalry game, or playing at least on the road for this rivalry game. So players like Lamar and Shannon will look to try their hardest to come away with a victory here in Moore Gymnasium.
And important to note about the Florida A&M team is they have 8, count them, 8 players scratched tonight, a bench of only 11. So including Love Bettis, who is their best three-point shooter and free throw shooter, excuse me. So with a couple of those, and especially Dominguez Stevens, who was big in this matchup last year off with a long-term injury, it's gonna come down to, can the Wildcats force the Rattlers to get into foul trouble, or can they force them to rotate some smaller guys in, some less experienced players into matchups where they aren't really at an advantage? Yeah.
The one thing that you would be worried about and have to look out for if you are the Wildcats is the fact that this Rattler team is going to look to play hard. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, and that could be a detriment to them if they foul a lot of these Wildcat players. Cookman just simply has more players that they could play. If you end up in a foul situation where you have your key players, let's say Shannon or Keith Lamar, get in foul trouble, all of a sudden you're looking at 2 of your major players in foul trouble, and you only have a bench at that point of around 9 players. So they'll look to avoid fouls and try to keep this game fast and loose. Try to make sure that possessions don't take too long. They got to rest those players, got to get the minutes and rotate a lot. Look for a lot of timeouts from this Florida A&M team as we roll into introductions.
Away we go. Henson, get your vocal cords ready. It's time for another matchup between the Wildcats and the Rattlers. And if it was anything like the last one we had earlier this afternoon in the women's game, it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out battle all the way till the final whistle. The Wildcats start Jacoby Hetty, Zion Harmon, Deshaun Dyson, Reggie Ward, and Elijah Halsey. 3 of the 5 players from the Chicago area. Of course, Billy Garrett, assistant coach, recruits that area so well. It's Chicago South here at Moore Gymnasium today.
Yeah, I mean, when you're all from the same area like that, it's always built a little camaraderie. You know some of the same people, you've been to some of the same places. It's always a very fun experience to meet people from the same place that you are, especially when you're far away from home like they are. You know, that's a good little flight from the Daytona Internationals up to O'Hare in Chicago.
It's going to be important for the Wildcats to start fast. They cannot let this Florida A&M team start hot on the offensive end and get away from them. FAMU only averaging 65.1 points a game. That's second to last in the SWAC. Only Mississippi Valley is averaging a lower points per game than them. But Florida A&M has played one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. Creighton, Nebraska, Florida, Oregon, Iowa, Iowa State, UCF, South Carolina.
Yep. As you can hear, the Wildcat faithful tell you what they think about the Rattlers coming into today's game.
The Rattlers win the tip. They're in the green and orange. Wildcats in the gold. Here we go. It's going to be Jordan Chapman to run the offense. Correction, this is KJ Parker, the freshman from Lakeland. High ball screen off to the left. And now in the high post with Jarius Eatman. Rising and firing and missing is KJ Parker. And you mentioned how senior-laden this FAMU team is. We've got KJ Parker, just a freshman, in the starting lineup for the Rattlers.
Yep. You know, he did a great job to earn that spot this year as Holsway gets the ball.
Down low, handoff, Harmon.
Illegal screen.
Illegal screen.
A tough spot for Holsway, trying to just set his feet, doesn't get to his spot quick enough, ends up getting that foul. And that's the last thing you want to see on a possession that looked to be working in the Wildcats' favor.
Still no score early on here. Rattlers' second offensive possession. Down low to Keith Lamar, their top scorer. He rises from the baseline, and Halsey grabs the board. Harmon pushing it in transition, and a throwdown from Reggie Ward.
That's a way to start a game. Immediately putting, again, the crowd back into it as a rough screen.
Extra pass, Parker for 3, no. Offensive rebound for the Rattlers, 3 is good.
Holsway was doing a good job trying to just get that ball out for, recycle possession or get it to a teammate, and it ends up being a good 3-point possession for the Rattlers offense.
Here's Deshaun Dyson, baseline jumper, nothing but twine. Deshaun Dyson, another Chicago native, a transfer from St. Augustine University, hit a game-winning shot to beat Alabama State in this gym last year at the buzzer. Spear, again, he's got 2 threes from the corner, Jalen Spear, and all 6 of the Rattler points. He's a Gainesville, Florida native who started his career at his hometown Santa Fe College. Zion Harmon gets fouled as he tries to split a double team.
I mean, hey, that's what you want to see out of Zion Harmon, is just pressing into that, get a foul, force this team to try to rotate their players early like they're doing right now. And, with that short bench, you end up in a positive situation for the Wildcats as they look to recycle possession here.
Dyson on the baseline. Halsey working on Shannon Grant, the 300-pounder. Here's Reggie Ward, moves inside, shakes and bakes, and misses. Good defense by Keith Lamar.
Yeah, you can see Holsway try to back into Shannon, and Shannon is not moving, you know. So it just didn't work out.
Down low to Grant, taken away by Holsay. Nice defensive pressure by the Wildcats. Here's Dyson. Hand off Jacoby Hetty. He's the top scorer on this Wildcats team. 15 points a game. Tries to throw it to the baseline for Zion, and he threw it out of bounds.
Good attempt there, trying to work that offensive possession. It just doesn't work in the Wildcats' favor. You know, giving the ball back to the Rattlers. Last thing you really want to see. But this press, Zion Harmon almost gets the steal off the inbounds pass. Doesn't happen though.
Wildcats will full court press. Ball comes in to Jalen Spear, the senior from Gainesville. He actually started his career at FAMU, then transferred to Santa Fe College, and now back at FAMU for his senior year. Steal by Jacoby Hetty. 2-on-1 the other way. Hetty all the way.
Foul.
Bucket on the foul. As look out referee.
Referee almost gets bowling balled, slide tackled even. Gets out the way. Hetty makes a great great shot rather on that fast break opportunity. He was definitely going up for a dunk, but saw the defender closing in and thought, hey, let me just make sure I get these 2 points, as he gets fouled and sent to the line.
Hetty, a 70% shooter from the line. Last year at Wabash Valley College, just staggering numbers. 18.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, 2 assists for Jacoby Hetty. And really the only player on this team that I would describe as a true 3-level scorer. Can shoot the 3, can get the mid-range, and can battle down low in the post. Here's KJ Parker against Zion.
Talent to have.
Spear again for 3, short. And the Wildcats running in transition. Harmon against Spear, takes the contact. Oh! The putback jam by Jacoby Hetty.
More gymnasium in roughs as Jacoby Hetty dunks over a grown man off the putback dunk.
Oh, bank is open for KJ Parker. As the Rattlers keep this one close. Holsay going right to the rack. He gets fouled and one. Oh, the Wildcats are looking to run early on. Lots of transition action for BCU in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, moves. Holsway gets his feet in a good position, gets good body positioning to move the big man. And Holsway's pretty big, so calling somebody a big man next to him is pretty impressive. Gets into that spot, makes his shot, and gets the foul. As Coach Theus looks to be talking to the ref and
Jacoby Hetty.
Jacoby Hetty here. He's talking to Harmon earlier.
Well, Coach Theus is one of those coaches where he is in everybody's ear the whole time. His players, the opposing players, the referee, everybody.
Yeah, if you play on a court with Reggie Theus in the area, you're going to get used to hearing his voice throughout the game. As Holsway makes that free throw, and the Rattlers will look to try to slow this game down a little bit after this Wildcat kind of offensive onslaught.
Spear loses the ball. Oh, but he bats it down as he was lying on the ground to get it to Grant for the layup. What a heads-up play by Jalen Spear. Flying to the lane, Dyson. He'll go to the line, and already
plenty of fouls.
3 fouls on the Rattlers, just 1 on Bethune-Cookman as we hit the first media timeout, and we get a chance to say hello to Sabrina Petit-Holm. Sabrina?
Hello, everyone. Well, you can tell that the Wildcats came out of the gate just attacking the boards, trying to get as many points as possible coming up. Rattlers as well. Seems like they have a different bit of a team that they're going with the offensive plays, but it's like a good game so far. You know, they're behind by 3 points, but 15 minutes on the board, so we'll see what we got.
What is your take on the contrasting styles in pace of play here early on. The Wildcats looking to run, push the pace, and the Rattlers looking to slow it down, playing more of a traditional half-court style.
It seems as the Rattlers did their homework on the Wildcats. So, Wildcats are more of a fundamental team, whereas you look at the Rattlers team, they have kind of their own style when they have their ball. Like, it meshes together, but you can tell that every player has their own style. Whereas, Coach Diaz, he makes sure that our Wildcat team plays more of a fundamental basketball game.
SWAC Conference continues for BCU basketball, and we need your support next weekend. Come out and catch all the BCU Hoops action Saturday, January 13th, as we host Grambling State for a doubleheader. The women tip things off at 2 p.m. with the men to follow at 4. Tickets start at just $15 or free with student ID. Can't make it? Catch all the action on youtube.com/CatEye Network.
A great performance to start out for the Wildcats offensively. Working the ball around, getting those fast break opportunities. Jacob Hetty already leading the scoring with that thunderous dunk with 5 points, 1 steal, 2 rebounds. FAMU, on the other hand, most of the points have been from Spear with that early 2-3 opportunity, 2 threes rather, and really helping that keep this Rattler team in it to start this game out.
9-12, Bethune-Cookman in the lead and going to the line after the first media timeout of the day. It is Deshaun Dyson to the line. Despite being electric in game-winning situations, Dyson comes to us from St. Augustine University, where he spent his sophomore year, averaged 17 points and 5 rebounds, was second in his conference in points per game. Last year at BCU, 11.4 points and 1.7 rebounds. In his freshman year at Shaw College, up near Chicago.
A lot of transfers for his career, a lot of movement, but he's found a home here in Daytona Beach.
That's really how it is for a lot of the college sports landscape. You're transferring. If you don't like the situation, you're just going to transfer. Some fresh faces into the game for the Rattlers. Kick out to Roderick Coffey. Extra pass and another 3 for Jalen Spear. He's 3 for 4 from beyond the arc to start the game.
You got to start, if you're the Wildcats defense, you got to make a point to at least close down on him a little bit more, at least until he cools down.
Jose baseline, wrap around Dyson, fading away, no. The ball pinballs around. It's still loose underneath. The Rattlers finally get it away, but Spear, 8 points already in the first 5 minutes of action. And he's on the ball now, throws it into the corner, gets it back as Coffey was pressured by Harmon. Spear fakes the triple, goes down low to Shannon Grant. Grant working on Holsey. That's going to be an important matchup to watch all night long, and Grant wins that battle.
Yeah, he beats him on that instep, and Holsey had a good offensive possession that last play with that Dyson fadeaway that missed.
Wildcats almost turn it over, but a reach-in foul called against Hans Lewis June.
Cool name, gets the foul though.
Yep.
Kind of reaches around, tries to step in front of the pass, but kind of throws Hetty back. And, they're going to call that every time.
Lewis June from Lake Worth, Florida, but started his college career at Northwest Kansas Tech, and then has come back to the Sunshine State. Holsey on the handoff to Reggie Ward Jr., the team leader in field goal percentage. Holsey tries to give it right back to Shannon Grant, and he does off the window.
Calls him too small on the walk back. And they're already
they are tussled up underneath.
Getting into it.
And they're going to call a foul on Holsey for pushing off. And the referee says none of this nonsense. And you can hear what the crowd thinks about it.
Shannon Grant is a funny man, kind of gets shoved into it, immediately goes and points at Holsey and looks at the ref, almost snitching on Holsey that, hey, that was him. I didn't do anything there.
Wildcats by 1. Another 3 on the way. This one short. Wrestled out of bounds by Lewis June. Wildcat ball. And we immediately see Halsey being retired from the game in favor of James Henderson Jr. And he's going to get a talking to, I'm sure, from his coaching staff. Do not sink to that level of pettiness. Don't get attacked this early on in the game, and just kind of play with a cool head.
Yeah, let's not get dumb fouls in the first half.
Oh, pull up from the corner. Dyson left it short. Dyson not afraid to shoot.
Yeah.
He's already taken 3 shots in the game. Parker with Hetty switched on to him. Parker goes past Hetty, and it's stripped by Ward. Ward off the extra pass. Can't go to the rim. Nice transition defense by the Rattlers.
They look to slow down this possession a little bit. Work the ball around.
Screen from Henderson. Dyson, free throw line jumper blocked from the back end by Lewis June.
Lewis June has a vertical on him.
And then the Rattlers can't get the ball into the front court. And Zion Harmon hits those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, that's a practice shot for Zion Harmon. You know, tuning up the band, so to speak, there. You know, you give him an open look, you make a defensive mistake, and you just give him the most free look possible rather than just letting the ball go out.
A strip by Zion. That's a clean strip. In transition, it's Ward again, and Ward with the dunk. The Wildcats have come to run today.
I mean, it's a dunk in name kind of only, and kind of the definition of a rim grazer. Kind of just puts the ball in the basket. The hands were by the rim. We'll call it a dunk. I think the fans want to call it a dunk.
They called it officially on the stats. They called it a jumper. I'm not sure that's correct.
At least a layup, but maybe not a jumper, as he looks to make it a 3-point play from the line and make this lead kind of stretch it out a little bit.
21-14, an 8-0 run by BCU out of the media timeout. And the Wildcats have answered the call. And they're playing better on defense and have forced 5 Florida A&M turnovers, and that's something that they do better than anybody else in the SWAC. They force opponents into 19.5 turnovers per game.
Yeah. And Seneca Willoughby gets checked into the game, along with DJ.
DJ Carter Hollinger. As we're getting a stoppage for cleaning the court, is head coach Robert McCullum in his 6th season for Florida A&M. Kind of gets animated on the sideline.
Coach Diaz loves to make sure that this court is clean at all times.
Yeah. McCullum is an interesting story. He coached the Nigerian men's national team for a while, as well as having stints at Western Michigan and USF.
You have to wonder if he's bilingual at this point.
Another rising triple that's no good. It caroms around. Hetty in transition. Back to Zion. A little bit of a smaller lineup for Bethune-Cookman on the floor right now. Not a lot of post presence as Henderson and Hall wrestle down low. And it's going to be a foul on, on Jadarius Eatman.
Yep. We're already at 6 total fouls, possibly 7 here, as the Wildcats go into the bonus early in this game.
It's a 1-and-1 for James Henderson Jr. And I guess if you're going to call the ticky-tack foul off the ball one way, you got to call it the other way. Henderson misses the front end of a 1-and-1. That's one of the worst feelings in the game of basketball.
Everybody immediately just breaks and acts like that free throw does not happen.
Already 7 fouls on the Rattlers. Jalen Spears been hot. He doesn't stay hot, but an offensive board for Eatman. Putback blocked. Shot. And then a trip by Willoughby, no call. Mid-range jumper by Spear, no.
Spear almost elbows.
Zion between the legs, step back, left it short. And then a foul is going to go against James Henderson on the rebound. That was a wild sequence down here, Henson. Break it down for us.
You lose possession one way. They try to keep the ball, and it just doesn't work out. The Wildcats still break away on that fast break, on that second chance opportunity that the Rattlers got, doesn't work out. Wildcats get the ball, try to run an offensive possession, foul called. Now no one has any points, and everyone's upset at home.
Media timeout number 2. Sabrina, how have the Wildcats built this lead?
Wow, I'm actually kind of very excited to see what this season holds for our Wildcats. You could definitely tell what type of chemistry that they have, especially with the some of the older players and the newer players, because it's still pretty much a new team. So the season just started. So the way that you see that the players are meshing seems really good. But both teams need to be able to drop these points, especially if they're not making it from the second point in. So we'll just see what we have to hold.
Now, the Wildcats have gotten most of their points in transition. When they've gotten into their half-court set, the Rattlers have gotten pretty well set defensively. What do the Wildcats need to do to break that press?
I think one thing that they have to do is just continue to watch their balls and continue to see what the other team is playing for as well.
Thank you, Sabrina. Nike's the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And where do you get that gear? At the Bethune-Cookman online store. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the BCU online store. Go to bcuathletics.com, then click on shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's bcuathletics.com, and click on shop. Out of the second media timeout, it's an 8-0 run for Bethune-Cookman over the last 2:56. They've got it done through forcing turnovers and through fast break points. Already up to 12 of their 21 points on the fast break, Henson.
Yep. That's what this is how this Wildcats team likes to play. They love to play off the fast break. They love to create those 2-on-1, 3-on-1 opportunities, get the crowd into it. People love dunks. People love fast break play. So it works into their favor, especially at home.
Spears been the hot hand for Florida A&M. Zion Harmon takes it away. He goes to the rim, and he gets the layup. More fast break points for the maroon and gold.
9-point lead for the maroon and gold as Zion Harmon gets another steal. And he's not even on main stealer.
That's the Damani McIntyre has not seen the floor yet tonight, but the Wildcats already have 5 steals. Kick out Spear, corner triple, short.
And at a certain point, you kind of got to stop letting him rock. You know, he's kind of cooled off.
Nice pass, a bullet from Zion underneath. And Jacoby Hetty finishes through contact.
Yeah, almost forces a turnover there on the inbound, playing some tough defense.
And we'll have a timeout called by Florida A&M, as we do see Damani McIntyre check into the game, and he can change the game all by himself. He is number 4 in the nation in steals per game, at number 8 in total steals, 3.1 and 39 respectively. And this from a player who led the league in steals last year, and he's doing it off the bench.
Yeah, that's different defensive. You know, I don't even have the word for it, because you can't, off the bench doing what he's doing is absurd. I no other way to put it. Being a top 5 in any category outside of maybe percentages when you're playing off the bench is very impressive, and we try to make note of it here on this broadcast.
Jacoby Hetty up to 7 points for Bethune-Cookman, 3 of 3 shooting and 3 rebounds. So Hetty doing what he does best, scoring and getting the ball off the misses. We have not seen a lot from James Henderson or DJ Carter-Hollinger. They are in the game together, and I guess both of them kind of make one center when Halsey is out of the game. It's a bit of a smaller lineup for Bethune-Cookman, and Henderson 6'9", Carter-Hollinger 6'6".
Yeah, but how they play, they definitely lend themselves to playing that physical kind of style. DJ Carter-Hollinger loves being in people's faces, loves being that guy, you know, the Draymond Green-esque type, where they just press up, make it very tough on opposing offenses, especially at home. He loves getting the crowd into the game, and we're going to look to see that. James Henderson Jr.'s no slouch either, loves a good outlet pass and working the ball well.
And he's not in the game right now if you're picking up that kind of ticky-tack foul, but Elijah Halsey had a good start to the game as well. He's up to 5 points.
Yep. We saw how he was, you know, we've seen some offensive inconsistency from him to start out the season, especially at home. And that's great to see him kind of get his feet under him. Obviously, you don't want him to pick up that kind of dumb foul to start out the game, but he's doing well.
Starting five back on the floor for Florida A&M. Here's Keith Lamar shoveling it underneath to Shannon Grant. And Keith Lamar still not on the score sheet yet, but picks up his second assist. Lamar leads this team in points at 14.3 per game. To the wing. Hetty didn't take the triple and then turns it over as the big man Shannon Grant uses the quick hands.
Shannon Grant is just a force down there. You kind of, it's hard for...
Oh, what a block! James Henderson pinned it to the backboard. Rattlers maintain possession in the scramble. The three is short.
And they kind of both landed awkwardly. Both of them were a little slow to get up. Dyson worked.
That's a tough finish. Offensive rebound, though. James Henderson, I thought he was going to take a three. Dyson likes the three, and he hits the three.
Gets the assist, James Henderson Jr. He definitely saw it and was like, maybe I'm going to pass it. And Deshaun Dyson converts it for him.
Henderson has not attempted a three-pointer this season, and he's not going to start now. He'll get it to the guard. Devontae McIntyre, his first steal. He goes coast to coast, blows the layup, but he gets it back. In the corner, McIntyre. Oh, Devontae with a triple.
Three's more than two anyway. There goes that man. We brought him up earlier, and he said, oh, here I am.
31-16. The Wildcats are motoring as there's another foul off the ball.
Look like it is against the Wildcats here. A lot of conversations going on. Everybody's
I think it's
huddled.
Against McIntyre. I couldn't see what number the official put up.
3 somewhere in there. So
Seneca Willoughby maybe.
Possibly.
Either way, a baseline in for the Rattlers. Grant rifles it underneath the spear.
Move.
Yeah, that's a great set play.
Yeah. Kind of hits a little hesitation like a receiver running a route and gets enough space to make that layup look easy.
McIntyre will run the offense. Dyson attacks the closeout, short corner, a little bit too strong. Henderson tries to rip down the board, and it will be FAMU ball. Good position there for Henderson, but against the bigger Grant, it was kind of tough sledding underneath.
3 big men kind of surrounded James Henderson. He's trying his hardest. Bless him down there, but you know, you don't got the height or the size. You kind of will end up in those kind of situations.
Lots of off-ball contact, and Seneca Willoughby's going to be called for a second foul for reaching in off-ball on Morel Schramm.
Yeah. You know, let's not do that. Keep doing that to start this game out. I know it's a rivalry game. I know, you know, tempers flare and stuff, but you don't want to put your team in foul trouble for no reason.
Willoughby comes out, Harmon comes back in.
The way that Theus talked to him, it might have been a set play plan kind of situation, but hey, I don't know.
Spear in the corner, guarded by Harmon, through a screen, back to Grant.
Goodness.
Great defense underneath, and McIntyre rips it away. Extra pass, and a reverse layup is good in transition. That's DJ Carter Hollinger.
Extremely pretty layup. I've never been that tall, so I have no idea how that feels.
Grant trapped in the corner. Back to the top for Spear, and FAMU runs the offense. 33-18. That's a wild pass, and what a brilliant play by Jordan Chapman to bounce it off the hip of DJ and keep it a FAMU ball. As we hit the under 8 media timeout. It'll almost another turnover. The Rattlers have turned it over 7 times so far. The Wildcats just 3. Sabrina, how do the Wildcats continue to force these turnovers?
I believe it's just this great defense that they've been working on so hard. I mean, you got some team members that are dogs on that team. The Hetty, definitely a dog and a leader on that team as well. But we also do need to tighten up our defense under the hoop as well. It's an interesting matchup between Grant and Henderson as well. He's a sophomore, so he's still a bit young, but I believe with the games that he continues to play, you're definitely going to see an improvement with him with his size size and, you know, how tall he is. It's definitely be a great matchup as well.
And this is a completely different game referee-wise, right?
Yes,
The first game, they let them play, they let them hand fight. This game, the referees, none of that.
Because it can get real tough and real hot really quick at the same time. So, you know, it's a different energy when it comes to men's basketball team, whether it is with women's basketball team. And, you know, it's also a rivalry going on as well, too. So the energy is definitely up there.
And BC, both teams are going to have to really kind of have some self-discipline today if they don't want to get a technical, especially we saw that first interaction between Grant and Henderson.
Right. So that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I just honestly feel like if, you know, they play a tight game and a clean game, we'll be able to execute some of these plays and, you know, put some points on the board.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU basketball, follow at BCU Hoops on Twitter and Instagram.
That last possession before we went into that break, at first I thought they were going to call that foul, call a foul on Chapman. Kind of wrapped his arm around Zion Harmon. And that's part of the reason why the Wildcats players kind of just stopped trying on that possession. And then he makes a heads-up play to keep the possession.
Defender falls down. Grant, floater, short. McIntyre with the miss, and he looks to run. Damani shovels it back to Dyson. Transition triple.
Tough sledding for the Rattler defense. As the team has spread this scoring out really well. Zion Harmon, Deshaun Dyson, and Jacob Hetty all having a round.
Spear lost the ball. Zion has the ball. Harmon floats it up. Oh! One-handed throwdown by DJ Carter Hollinger.
They are tired of me talking, so they're going to just
And an offensive foul for an illegal screen. It's all Wildcats at the moment.
Damani McIntyre tries to calm down the crowd a little bit before the Wildcats get possession back, as Moore Gymnasium lost it a little bit. The commentary booth lost it. The production team as a whole lost it on that one-handed alley-oop slam.
That was amazing.
That was very impressive. Sports Center, if you're watching, we got a top 10 play for you down here in Moore Gym.
Pass underneath, and then Carter Hollinger turns it over. Spear in transition.
Oh.
Euro as he's falling over and gets it to go. Jalen Spear, really impressive early on for FAMU, up to 12 points.
That Euro took both of his defenders out. They kind of fled and slid into each other.
No-look pass, another no-look pass, and DJ finishes at the cup.
20-point lead for this Wildcats team, and it hasn't looked close for a good stretch since that opening flurry of points from the Rattlers. They've kind of been held in check by this amazing Wildcats defense.
Well, and also the Rattlers, as here's a three, no good, rebound. The Rattlers are still rattled, for lack of a better term, by this fast-paced BCU offense. And even in the games that we saw, as there's another three for Zion, no good. But even in the games we've seen here at Moore Gymnasium, specifically against Incarnate Word earlier on in the season, we did not see this pace from the Wildcats offense.
You know, you get in that mid-season swing, that mid-season groove. They played plenty of games coming into tonight. So it's, you know, they got that energy. They know how they're going to play. They're gelled together at this point.
Nice move by Lamar, and he's fouled by McIntyre on the shot. As you mentioned, the Wildcats coming off a 4-game losing streak. Purdue, Fort Wayne, Chicago State, UCF, and Mississippi State. Those first two games, pretty close. The second two, we kind of move on from those.
We don't talk about those. But if you're a Rattler fan, you want keep Lamar to get the ball a little bit more. I mean, only this, I think, his first chance for points this game, his second shot attempt, as the refs, I think, heard some chirping. Or a substitution, rather?
Yeah, we're trying to get a substitution, and the referee was like, no, you can't be off the bench, but it was the sub. And we've seen this referee crew be the kind of crew that's going to hold everybody to a really high standard as the first free throw is missed by Lamar. So you're going to have to, like, no bench warnings, no chirping. You will be called for technical fouls for those little things.
Yeah. And that's good to have in a rivalry game. You don't want stuff to get out of hand. No one wants to see a game get ugly or have something happen. All of a sudden, players are in trouble and, you know, programs aren't. You don't want to see all that. So a good refereeing crew will help, you know, stop that from happening, stem that kind of tide.
And the referees do their homework just like you and I do. Here's Reggie Ward.
Whoa.
He spins and he's fouled. Nice footwork by Reggie. But to finish my point about the referees, they do their homework just as much as we do, right? They study the teams. They know who the players are. They know who the potential troublemakers are. They know, you know, kind of pace of play that teams like to run at. And they recognize that this is a rivalry game, so they're going to have to clamp down on a lot of this silliness early so it doesn't break out late.
Yeah, that's the, you know, refereeing isn't an easy job. It's kind of like being a pilot. Everyone, you know, talks about them in a bad way, but no one wants to be one, you know? So,
First free throw is good from Ward as Damani McIntyre comes out. He'll do that all day. Play about 5-minute stretch, get 3 steals, and leave again.
He's got a nice position on the team. I mean, that's amazing if you could come into work for about 4 minutes, do some cool stuff, and then go sit back down. Makes both free throws there. Rattler ball.
42-21. Correction, 42-21.
We really just wanted to say it one more time to the Rattler fans at home. 20-point lead.
Now this game not over by a long shot. Lamar tries to attack the closeout, and a foul going to be called on Yusuf Tamara as he prevents Lamar from landing. And we had that in the first game, right?
I mean, he kind of it's kind of, you know, Moore Gymnasium doesn't like that call. He doesn't have a place to land. To be fair to the defender there, his hands were up, he was standing still. There isn't much more he can do other than simply let him go by him or back up. So it's a weird kind of position for the player. If you're gonna call that for Ward, who was also kind of doing a little spin around situation earlier, you kind of have to call for Lamar. So it's only fair. Consistency is key in refereeing.
Lamar has 2 now. 2 points as that one hangs on the rim and doesn't go. As the student section lets him know about it. 20-point game, 5 minutes left to go first half. Hetty at the nail, fakes the jump shot, backs up to the corner.
Fakes the shot.
Into Yusuf Tamara. Tamara, hook shot, way too strong. Yusuf, a sophomore center from France, hasn't seen much play this season, and that's a no call as Reggie Ward steps on the baseline as he rebounded the ball, and he's not happy about it.
You know.
But that was a bit of an ugly play on both sides.
Coach Lee is immediately telling Yusuf, I've never seen you shoot that shot. You do not shoot that shot.
Another transfer from Northwest Kansas Tech, just like, I'm trying to find it on my sheet, and I've lost it. Yep. I'll get that note for you at some point.
Yep. We will not forget. Let's keep Lamar.
Drives, floater, good.
Tough shot, yeah.
Wildcats will look to push the pace.
Oh.
Step back 3, no good. Offensive rebound for Tamara. Another 3 from the exact same spot, and a foul. And so Zion's going to go to the line. Correction, Deshaun Dyson's going to go to the line. And they'll get Morel Schramm with the foul.
Yeah. Dyson kind of pulls a little James Harden move, something that if you've been watching, you know, basketball for a long time, or especially these past 10 years, you've seen a lot more of a three-point shooter taking a shot and then intentionally kind of kicking their legs out so that they don't have a place to land, where the defender closes down on them, then it's a foul and everybody's on the floor, and now you get 3 free throws, or 1 if you make it.
Yeah. So Hans Louis June, I found my note, and Yusuf Tamara were teammates at Northwest Kansas Tech 2 seasons ago.
And you both end up at rival schools in the same state and the same. It's very, very funny kind of situation. What Theus told Yusuf after his shot kind of reminded me of another all-time great talking to one of his players, that famous Patrick Ewing clip where he tells his player, "You've never shot that shot before." So what kind of shot is that? Now I'm thinking about it. But
Dyson, again, perfect from the line. The Wildcats, 57% from the floor tonight in the first half, and that has helped them build this 20-point advantage.
Yeah. And they've kept this 20-point advantage for much of the game.
Spear. Nice closeout by Dyson. Tough shot is left short, and Deshaun grabs the miss.
Spears kind of had the lay of the land in terms of shooting, but hasn't really had it since the start of the first half.
Hit those three quick triples and then hasn't had much since.
Yep.
As the Wildcats will drain some first quarter clock with 15 on the shot clock. Zion on high, as there's a lot of off-ball motion in front of him.
Yep.
Tamara sets the screen. Zion goes around. Step back triple. Oh, my goodness.
This has been a highlight-filled first half for the Wildcats. And another play from Zion Harmon, who's quickly becoming one of the premier guards, if not already, of the SWAC conference.
Almost gets another steal off Lamar. Lamar dribbles into a long two and hits it.
Tough shot, hand all up in his face. He makes that shot. Very impressive. Trying to help his team out. Probably needs the ball more if they're to look to come back from this big deficit.
Lamar's got 4. Spears got 12. Ward almost looked like he wanted to shoot that 3. Deshaun Dyson will, and it's going to be a chance for a 4-point play as he was not allowed to land. Everything the Wildcats touch turns to gold on Gold Out night at Moore Gymnasium.
High-fiving, I think his parents in the audience or somebody in the audience after that 4-point play deserved one after that moment. And just a lot of offensive brilliance out of the Wildcats, already at 50 points to start this first half off. Really showing that at home, they're a different animal, a different Wildcat, if you will.
Wildcats will go to the line. Dyson will to potentially put the Wildcats at 51 points in the first half. Sabrina's been watching this closely. What are your thoughts on the recent Wildcat run?
Oh, I'm really actually very excited. Dyson came off the bench with the leading scoring points for Bethune-Cookman with 16 points. That's a lot of energy. And it's very interesting if you look at Coach Diaz's coaching style. He has a very, very fundamental, clean coaching style, and it works. We also get to take a look at their defense. They have like some sort of a man and zone thing going on that's giving them just enough pressure but enough space for any mistakes to happen so they can, you know, get off the defense and head to offense.
Yeah, and it's something where the offense never knows if there's going to be a switch on a pass or they're going to chase through the screen or a double team is coming. It's kind of nebulous in that sense.
It's like all those what-if moments that are happening ends up happening because of that that defense play that they're playing. It's exciting to see. We have sort of a big lead with 50 points going on and 26 for the guests, so we'll see if the Rattlers will be able to catch up with their defense if they were able to compete.
And put yourself in Coach Robert McCullum's shoes for FAMU for a second, right? You have not been able to stop this fast-paced offense of Bethune-Cookman. What did you do tactically to try and solve this puzzle?
We have to go to man. If I was the coach, I would honestly have to go to man because that would be the only way for my team to keep up with, you know, the Wildcats and, you know, just to stay with them. So that's what I would do.
Deshaun Dyson will go to the line after this timeout. Don't miss a second of Wildcat basketball this season. Get your tickets to see Bethune-Cookman basketball live at Moore Gymnasium, starting at just $15. Get your tickets today at the BCU box office or online at Ticketmaster.com.
Deshaun Dyson's leading the team in points right now, 16, trying to make it 17 on this second
and one opportunity. Oh my goodness. That's a ridiculous tip-in from Reggie Ward.
Says, I need some points, coach. Zion Harmon's looking at a possible double-double, already 8 points and 6 assists. So watch out for that as this game continues. Jab step.
Spear, swish. And he's been hitting those mid-range shots. But only 4 FAMU players are on the scoreboard. Parker has 2, Spear has 14, Lamar and Grant both have 6. as the Wildcats have clamped down defensively and forced 9 turnovers in the first half. Dyson open for three again. Step back. Right in Spears' face. Can't hit it that time. It's too strong. Now the Rattlers will try and push some tempo in transition. Back to the top. Spear, long three. Front iron, no good, but it's a long rebound that comes down to Lewis June. Lamar, he tries the really long three. In and out. Out of bounds. Wildcat ball off of Hans.
Now, I want to give somebody a little credit on the Rattlers side of the ball. Lewis June has been about everywhere for them on the boards. He has a pretty good vertical, as we've seen. He's only 6'4", but he just springs up, tries to get boards, tries to tip it out, and has done a really good job of doing that to start this game out.
Dyson throws the ball away, and there comes Lewis June with the hammer.
I brought him up and, takes advantage of that fast break opportunity to show it one more time.
And timeout Bethune-Cookman, as Coach Theus not happy with that one. Just a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. Coming up for the Wildcats next weekend, they get a 3-game homestand going, as on Saturday the men and women play Grambling State, and on Monday it's the Southern Jaguars that come to town.
Yeah.
Grambling State, especially the women, have been in the news recently for their 158-13 win over the College of Biblical Studies, which is the largest margin of victory in a Division I women's basketball game of all time.
Which is, an absurd stat. Give them a lot of credit for that. Also making up for HBCUs in general after South Carolina kind of put, I think it was Florida. Was it Florida Memorial? Who did they play earlier this year that they
It was,
blew out?
I believe it was Mississippi Valley.
Mississippi Valley by a lot. So they redeemed HBCUs across the country by going, hey, we are not that bad. And they had a great performance here. The women our Wildcats women's team will look to have a great performance against them as well after winning earlier today against this Rattlers team.
Wildcats back on offense. They'll swing it around to Dyson. 1:25 to go first half. Harmon, little jab step. Dyson catch and shoot. Way too strong. Doesn't even hit the rim. And, Dyson has free reign to shoot those shots, as he's been hitting them more times than not. Grant back in the game. Bucket and one down low against Tamara.
It's a tough situation for Tamara. He kind of puts his hands up, does about as much as he can do without trying to foul him, gets the foul call anyway, and he scores. So it's kind of, you try, sometimes you don't succeed. It's one of those.
8 players for the Wildcats have scored in this game. Only 5 for FAMU.
Both Wildcats teams, men's and women, try to spread the scoring a lot and often. And we're seeing that here, especially with this larger lead that they've kind of built.
Harmon round the screen, but lost the ball. And the Wildcats now getting a little bit sloppy. Their 6th turnover of the first half. And all that momentum that the Wildcats had at the beginning of this half seemingly gone away as it's a 7-0 FAMU run.
Yeah, that extra timeout hasn't really helped them, it seems. But thankfully, they're kind of going into this halftime break and will look for the Rattlers to try to take the air out of the ball.
And even though there was a 26-point advantage, Lewis June gets hammered, no call.
Yeah.
And he looks at the ref like, you're calling every little reach in as a foul, but you don't call that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he came in on Yusuf, and Yusuf just stood there. He didn't move, he didn't try to do anything to him, so you can't call him for anything, especially when you run into a player head on like that. So I think it's a fair non-call.
Hetty looking for a post player, goes cross court to Zion, thought about a deep three. He drives, floats it up, and in. Zion with a nice nifty little move, little burst of speed as well.
Making up for his possession loss earlier by making a pretty layup, and now the Rattlers are hold for the last shot of the half.
10 seconds to go. Wouldn't surprise me if Spear takes it himself, gets the screen from Grant, chases Tamara to the left. Lamar open for three, way short. And that is the end of the first half. Mostly, except for the last couple of minutes, all Wildcats as they shoot 58% from the floor and 60% from three to take a 54-33 lead into halftime. Sabrina, your thoughts on the first half?
It's an interesting game that we have here. We definitely see that Finney's coach has definitely caught on to what the Wildcats were doing and switched from man to a zone defense and saw that it was working for their team. So we'll see when we come back from the halftime to see if they will continue to be in the zone. But I love the energy that the Wildcats are coming with, and we continue to see if they're going to continue to drop points. We have pretty much a good 20-point lead, about a 20-point lead. So right now it's looking good for the Wildcats.
19 points the gap as we hit the break. We'll take a halftime interval and come back. This is Bethune-Cookman University basketball on the CatEye Network. Welcome back to Moore Gymnasium for the second half of play between the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the Florida A&M Rattlers to kick off SWAC conference play in the second game of our doubleheader. The Wildcats looking for a sweep of the Rattlers today after the women's team pulled out a 4-point win in the afternoon game. Here are your scoring totals for the first half. First for Florida A&M, Spear leads the way with 14. Grant has 9. Lamar 6, Parker and Lewis June both have 2. Chapman, Eatman, Coffey, and Schramm have played but not scored. And for Bethune-Cookman, it's Deshaun Dyson's day. 16 points on 5 of 13 shooting, including 3 for 6 from beyond the arc. Zion Harmon is also in double figures. He has 10, also 6 assists. Watch out for a double-double potentially from Zion. Reggie Ward has 9, Jacoby Hetty 7, Elijah Halsey 5, McIntyre with 3, Timara with 2, and Carter Hollinger with 2. Willoughby and Henderson have played but not scored for the Wildcats. Sabrina Petit-Home has been following all the action. Sabrina, what do you think is going to happen in the second half?
Well, I don't think that the Wildcats are going to keep their foot on the Rattlers' necks, that's for sure. But one thing I am interested to see, because right before the halftime started, we saw the coach for FAMU had switched from a man to a zone. So I'm interested if he's going to keep that start in the game and how the Wildcats are going to respond to that. But so far, I just know that Wildcats are going to come out with some high intensity, energy, and just drop some more points. And I expect the Rattlers to be able to counteract that.
Henson White is once again back. Henson, we saw a barrage of deep shooting for the Wildcats in the first half. Do you think this is going to be the game plan for the SWAC? Because they're going to be dominated size-wise by so many of these SWAC teams.
Yeah. I think it would be a great idea, especially if they could do it consistently, to have a deep shooting threat consistently. That's the only way you're going to draw those teams out and allow your other scorers in the paint to make an impact. And one thing I want to note for this FAMU team is that due to possibly playing that tough schedule throughout the season, Oregon, Nebraska, Florida, Creighton, Iowa, Iowa State, UCF, South Carolina, none of those teams are slouches. So you come in to a conference game where you're supposed to have better odds and it's supposed to be a close game and, different energy, but you're so used to having to play from behind, being the underdog, and losing a lot of those underdog situation games that it just might be a mentality issue. We saw them having success in certain things and then would go away from it. Shannon was working well. And they stopped using him. He got stopped once or twice and they were like, we're done. The only person we've seen consistently keep having the ball in his hands is Spear, and outside of the start of the game, he hasn't been doing well either. So it's a very interesting thing to see, and to see how they go throughout the rest of this game and throughout the rest of the season.
The Wildcats did most of their damage in the first half on the fast break, scoring 23 fast break points, 18 of those as a result of 10 Florida A&M turnovers. The Rattlers caused 9 steals for those 10 turnovers. And the Wildcats, they are a heavily defensive-minded team. They like to steal the ball. They like to pressure passing lanes, and we saw it work to perfection in half number 1.
Yeah. They'll look to keep it going just in the half number 2. You're up 21. You can take your foot off the gas a little bit, but that doesn't mean you should.
Starting 5 back out on the floor, so we'll see Elijah Halsey. Here's Reggie Ward. Step back off the window.
This has been an excellent shooting night from the Wildcats. Shooting around. Good shot there by the number 11 there for FAMU, Roger Coffey. But it's been an excellent shooting night for the Wildcats, shooting around 60% both from the field and from the three-point line, and 66% from the free throw line. So consistently 60 this game.
Halsey, that pass a little bit too tall for him for Zion. Spear in transition. Coffey throws it away. I thought Coffey was going to just pull up, but he attempted to pass it.
He overthought it there. One too many extra passes, and it's a turnover.
Zion, iso ball. Dyson wide open on the wing, just a little bit short. The ball goes out of bounds. It's going to be FAMU ball, last touch by Elijah Halsey. And I want to bring up Halsey a little bit because he played the first 7 minutes, got that ticky-tack foul coming down the floor, and then didn't play the rest of the first half. And he wasn't involved in a lot of the momentum for the Wildcats on the floor. Do you think that plays into his game, even just mentally, at the start of the second half?
It's got to feel kind of weird to see the team succeed. And then
as he gets and one on by Grant.
To see the team succeed, because especially when he started well, and then to get taken off because of a dumb foul, admittedly, but then to not see any more minutes for the rest of the half has to kind of play with your mental a little bit, even if you understand why. It kind of feels like, dang, I'm getting singled out for this or something. That you can only imagine the mental kind of situation that's going on. Hopefully he can get through it and plays well throughout this second half.
Grant at the line to try and complete the and one. He misses it short. It is a Rattler rebound and then a jump ball. The Rattlers do have the possession arrow, so now down by less than 20, just 18. The lead's been as much as 26 at 52-26 in that first half. That first half, 54 points for the Wildcats, was their highest scoring half of the season and their best shooting percentage in a half of the season. Coffee, corner, pocket, good.
He makes up for that earlier extra pass. The coach for the Rattlers wanted him to press there. Now he's calling a timeout.
5-0 run to start the second half by FAMU. Timeout. By the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Reggie Theus wants it. And Sabrina, what do you think is going through Theus's mind right now?
He definitely sees that the game has slowed down just a little bit. In my opinion, Elijah just needs a little bit more confidence down below. If he goes in a little bit stronger and, rebounds the way that he needs, so I think the team will be able to get those loose balls. They need to attack the boards a little bit more, but the game has definitely slowed down from the half. So I think he's just trying to see if the plays are going to be ran through.
8-0 run by FAMU over the first minute 23 of half number 2. And when you play this style, Henson, of just continuously shooting outside shots and relying on the three to go, when you have a great shooting half like the Wildcats did, 60% from three, you kind of think that regression to the mean will happen a little bit and you'll shoot a little bit poorer in the second half. So you've got to be prepared and have a backup plan for when that three-point shooting goes south, and the Wildcats really don't right now.
Yeah, I mean, you go out and have an amazing three-point performance, you have an amazing shooting performance overall, and you come back out in the second half and you kind of have to mentally accept, okay, we're probably not going to, obviously it'd be amazing if we do, but we're probably not going to be able to keep shooting like that. So maybe this is what that timeout was about, hey, we're going to slow this game down, take the air out of the ball, work the ball in a little bit more, work it around a lot more, and do a better job to start out this second half.
Out of the timeout, Wildcats will control. It's been all Deshaun Dyson early on offense for the Wildcats and hasn't really worked out for them. Maybe we get Harmon or Hetty involved a little bit. Harmon back to Henderson. Dyson in the corner, in and out, but the putback is there from Reggie Ward.
Reggie Ward's had a very good game as well. He gets a lot of those second chance efforts and tough baskets to go, so you might not see them, but you notice that he has, 9 points heading into this 17th minute of play.
They go to Grant again against Carter Hollinger, and Grant gets the and one again, against James Henderson.
I'm not 100% sure what he fouled there. I think it might have been from behind, because James Henderson Jr. certainly didn't do much in that situation. Yeah, that foul was against Deshaun Dyson, so he must have came in too hard from behind there, trying to mess up his shot. And when you're that small and a guy that big, you kind of have to throw yourself at him to really affect his shot.
Grant misses the and one, and it's going to be BCU ball, last touched by Chapman. Chapman from Bessemer, Alabama, and a transfer from Shelton State Community College 2 years ago. His season high this season is 8 for Chapman. He has yet to get on the score sheet this evening. Hetty, turnaround, catches, goes to the hole, and he'll go to the line. And that's what the Wildcats need to do. They need to get some of these Rattlers in foul trouble. We talked at the start of the game, right, that this is a shallow Rattler bench, only 11 players available, and yet only Jatavius Eatman has 3 fouls for the Rattlers.
Yeah, and I think Grant's kind of feeling it in terms of his overall stamina. I think he actually got hit by Hetty when he was going up for that layup down below. So I think that's affecting him a little bit here. Hopefully he's okay, though.
Hetty, a 70% shooter from the foul line on the season. This is his first trip to the line on the day. Is 3 for 3 from the floor in the first half, and is now 2 for 2 from the line. Up to 9 points for Jacoby. And he could very easily be the 4th Wildcat in double figures. We've got Dyson with 16, Ward with 13, and Harmon with 10. Spear, ISO ball against Deshaun Dyson. Goes by him, gets a bump, and scores. That's an impressive layup by Spear.
Impressive shot by Spear. He's been, he's their leading scorer, and if they're going to look to get back into this game, somebody's got to take up the scoring, and Keith Lamar really has in this game. So
we saw that in the first game from the FAMU women's team, right? As Hetty turns the ball over, Lamar running against Ward, and then Ward trips up Lamar. And I'm not sure they'll call that in the act of shooting.
Yeah, I don't think that was obviously on purpose, due to how Ward also kind of slid off and fell.
It is in the act of shooting, so they'll go to the line.
And the ref shows them his best layup impression to Coach Theus there. Theus trying to plead the case that was an act of shooting, but he's saying he was carrying it. He was obviously going for a layup there. As
Lamar misses.
Front iron.
He is just 2 for 5 from the stripe and 2 for 6 from the field today, Keith Lamar. And someone who's averaging 14.3 points a game. Makes the second one. But it's back to a 14-point game here for the Wildcats. It's been pretty much all Rattlers in this second half, 12-6 in points.
Yeah, it's been a much slower pace second half, which benefits the winning Wildcats, but
Harmon to Ward. Ward baseline, up and under, just get it to go. Now it's the Rattlers running the floor. Coffey gets to his spot, and they'll slow it down. They like this ISO play for Spear. Now he has to pass the ball, and he turns it over. Hetty in transition, goes to the lane, and gets fouled. And Zion was wide open in the corner, screaming for the ball to put it up for 3, but Jacoby wanted to do all the work himself.
That's always annoying as an offensive player when you get open, especially if you know you can shoot and then somebody just kind of does he's going to the line, could have been an and-one opportunity, so it's not like the end of the world or anything, but
the
just
Rattlers,
one of those things.
7 of 8 from the floor to begin half number 2.
Yeah.
And Hetty misses the first of his 2-shot penalty, his first free throw miss of the day. Front iron rolls in, gets the backspin.
Yep.
61-46, Spear with Dyson on him again. Forces Dyson into the screen. Deshaun really shadowing him well out beyond the free throw line. Now it's Chapman. Going into the lane and leaving the layup short is KJ Parker, the freshman. Rebound Dyson. High Zion floater, no.
Just kind of puts it up there. It doesn't make it, though. And Spear has been running this offense.
Long pass, catch and shoot 3. Good for Jordan Chapman. And it's an 11-point game.
All of a sudden, it's a little bit closer. Same thing that happened to the women's team, where the game was really out and away, and then the Wildcat offense kind of sputters.
There's Deshaun Dyson finally finding his first points of the second half.
But they're going to look to try to just fix that up headed into this
what a move by
point.
Grant.
Oh, my goodness.
He blows by Henderson on this spin, and the Wildcats really have had no answer for Grant in this second half. He's up to 15.
The big man making small man moves there.
Oh, extra pass.
Oh.
And Ward and one as Chapman goes over the top of him.
Yep.
Great vision by Zion Harmon as he collects assist number 8 on the evening.
Yep. Chapman jumps too early. Every offensive player from here to Nagasaki is going to take advantage of a defender jumping that early. Goes up and under, gets the obvious foul call, and now we go to a break.
Media timeout, first one of half number 2. It's been all FAMU. Sabrina, what have you seen?
We could definitely tell that both teams are a bit tired. You know, the game has definitely slowed down a bit from the first half, but I want to shed some light on the Rattlers, especially Grant. For a big man, he's very fluid. It kind of reminds me of being an underdog. You know, he has those plays where, you know, those plays don't typically go in, but he's the one that, you know, usually makes them. So it's really good to see, you know, somebody down there be able to take that big man move and, you know, make those shots down there. You know.
And what do the Wildcats need to do defensively with smaller players to defend against someone who is 6'10", 300?
They have to play, like, they have to stand their ground, because one thing about Grant, watching him play, it doesn't look like he's going to back down for anybody, no matter what size you are. So definitely want to see some more from our Wildcats in the bottom half of the court, especially in the defense-wise. Because if we can match up to this level to Grant as well, then the points on the bottom are always going to go to Grant.
Come be a part of BCU Athletics and support the CatEye Network. If you or your business is interested in partnering with us here on the CatEye Network, you can reach out to the Wildcats Athletic Communications Department at BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. That's BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. A quarter of the way home in this fourth quarter, and already the gap has been lowered to 14. It was as little as 11.
Yep.
Henson, and here come the Rattlers. We knew they weren't going to go quietly, even down 26 earlier on in the game.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. Nobody wants to get blown out in a rivalry game. You're obviously going to fight back and at least try to make it respectable, even if you don't win.
We will start with an and one opportunity for Reggie Ward Jr., the junior from Chicago, Illinois. Up and good. Ward started his collegiate career at Riverside City College in Chicago, and then transfer here to BCU. And a steal by Jacoby Hetty. He's got open floor in front of him, and he throws down a two-handed jam.
Energy reinstalled back into more. What?
Keith Lamar fouled as he goes through the lane, and the Wildcats want to know why that's not a charge.
Yeah.
I'm getting a nod from Sabrina. Looks like a charge, but Lamar going to go to the line. And that's what the Wildcats need to do that they did so well in the first half. They need to get steals, run in transition, push the pace, because that's when the Rattlers can't run with them.
Yeah. You know, they have 12 steals just to the Rattlers 5. So they've done a good job of doing that. And that's part of the reason this lead has been so big throughout this game.
BCU came back with a quick 5-0 run before that free throw from Keith Lamar, originally from Stockbridge, Georgia, Lamar. Second team All-State player and a top 50 recruit out of the state of Georgia.
Zion Harmon has been a playmaker tonight.
And he throws! Look out! We just saw a man fly! For Reggie Ward.
Oh my God. Did they call a foul?
They called a foul? The referee is trying to explain to Coach Theus what happened.
Yeah.
The players want a review.
I mean, if
I don't understand about that one.
So that did not, no, What's
They scored the basket at 70-53. So for right now, we'll score it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what went on there after the play.
Weird. Didn't call like a tech or anything. Or
Spear
unsportsman. Whoa.
has a shot blocked off the backboard and almost went in.
Yeah.
Wildcats on the offensive end again. No look pass. Harmon gets his defender in the air.
Ooh.
Step back to the corner.
Oh.
He's got his dancing shoes on. Underneath to Ward. He goes by the defender and scores.
Reggie Ward Jr. take a bow, son. After probably one of the best plays I've seen in Moore Gymnasium with that dunk. Then immediately getting a tough and one, showing it wasn't a fluke. He's tied for the most points on the team and tied for the most points scored this game.
And that's a double-double for Zion Harmon, 10 points, 10 assists.
Yeah, and make no small mention of Zion Harmon dancing around the defense by himself, corralling them basically into a position where Reggie Ward Jr. could take advantage and make a tough layup here.
It's been the Ward and Harmon show over the past couple of minutes. It's a 10-2 run for Bethune-Cookman.
I still can't get over that dunk. That was absurd.
They've pushed the lead back to 20. Spear attacks.
Nice. Ooh.
And is that a travel?
Or did he step out of bounds?
What did they call a foul? I'm not sure. They called the foul on Ward.
Ooh.
That's his second. And again, Reggie Theus has a concerned look on his face, like, what was that?
First, I thought he went out of bounds, but obviously a foul's called. Oh.
Devontae McIntyre set the check back in. Here's Chapman, handoff to Spear, the native of Gainesville. Got to play in his hometown earlier this year when the Rattlers played Florida. 8 to shoot, 12 minutes to go in a game. Spear hops through, misses off the backboard. Hetty grabs it. Wildcats looking to move the ball in transition. Hetty backs up, and Deshaun Dyson will run the offense and slow it down.
You got time. You're up 20. No reason to do anything stupid.
Dyson moves to his left and connects on the triple.
Certainly isn't stupid when you're Deshaun Dyson. Nice step back shot.
Deshaun Dyson, 8 of 10 from the floor. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, this has been an amazing showing so far for this Wildcat team. Oh,
poked away. Lamar keeps it. Off balance shot, no good. Rebound Ward. Wildcats a chance to put an exclamation point on this one. Oh, it's in and out from Zion Harmon. That looked good.
And Jacoby Hetty was trying to get that putback jam, but missed the ball. Oh.
And then it's coughed up by Eatman.
Oh.
Oh, Jacoby Hetty makes it look like the NBA dunk contest.
A little reverse jam. After that Reggie Ward dunk, the noise in here is palpable. The energy is insane. After that Reggie Ward Jr. dunk, it kind of ruined my mindset of how good a dunk can be. That was certainly impressive, but he put that man on a sweater, a sweatshirt, a jacket, anything you'd like. He has a poster now in his room.
Sabrina, I went to a basketball game and a dunk contest broke out for Bethune-Cookman here in the last couple of minutes.
Seeing that, I'm honestly, if I had to start a little segment of my own, call it Dog of the Day, I honestly feel like Reggie Ward has that. You know, as a sophomore coming into this Wildcat team, he is definitely, truly making a name for himself. The chemistry on this basketball team between the Wildcats, being a young team, is, you know, impeccable. I'm really excited to see what this season has for them. For the Rattlers, they have, you know, a lot of work to do. They're trying to catch up with the Wildcats, but there's definitely a show out here. The Student Center is definitely loving it. Alumni is loving it. Seems like a really good game today.
What changed after the Rattlers closed it to 11 for the Wildcats to push this lead back out to 20 plus?
I think they were able to catch themselves and see what their mistakes were. And, you know, during that time now with Coach, they were able to come together and figure out what was going to work for the team to, you know, get that 20-point lead.
And I think most importantly, in my eyes, they went back to running the floor in transition.
Exactly.
There is no BC without you. Show your support for Bethune-Cookman Athletics by joining the Wildcat Champions Club today. Help build a championship culture at Bethune-Cookman. You can donate and join at cookman.scalefunder.com. And we figured out, thanks to Bryce Radosky, who's down at the table, what happened on that after the Ward dunk. It was an inadvertent whistle from the referee.
Yeah. Just an accident. He was surprised as well.
Everybody was surprised.
Yeah. I don't think a single person in Moore Gym was expecting that.
78-53, and for this Wildcats crowd and maybe student community, this feels like maybe exercising the demons of the Classic a little bit.
Yeah. Makes you feel a little bit better when you're you know, beaten down on your big upstate rivals, especially when you play them twice and then you beat them twice.
Oh, that's a reach-in foul. It's going to go against Damani McIntyre, who's into the game trying to rack up some steals. McIntyre only credited for 2 so far in the game, shy of his usual 3.14, 159265.
Only the pi number, obviously. And only 5 minutes of playtime heading into this moment here.
Well, that means he has 2 steals in 5 minutes, which is still pretty good. If he plays about 5 more minutes in the second half, he should get to 4 steals on average. Here's a 3 from straight on, too strong from KJ Parker. Wildcats run the floor. Harmon already in the front court. He took the 3, no good. And he shot that 3 so fast, nobody was there for the rebound. Spear all the way against Harmon.
Is that going to be a reach or a shooting foul is the real question.
It doesn't matter, I believe, because they're in the bonus.
Nope.
That's Zion's first foul. And for someone who plays as hard on both ends of the floor as Zion does, it always astounds me how few fouls he picks up.
You know, it's a talent. Certain people have that skill where they can. It's always, to me, it's always more impressive with the big men when they're able to go an entire game without really getting into foul trouble whatsoever. Maybe 1 or 2. When you have players like a Zion Harmon running in at you all the time.
It was a shooting foul. We have a request. Jacoby Hetty says shout out to his mom who's watching. So
your son's doing really well.
Yep.
We promise.
14 points for Hetty, 21 for Dyson and Ward on just ridiculous shooting splits.
I mean, this has been one of those kind of days, one of those kind of performances.
Wildcats have the bench in with Seneca Willoughby, Yusuf Tamara, and Damani McIntyre all in the game. Kick out to the top of the key. There's a long 3. It hangs on the rim and doesn't fall in for DJ Carter Hollinger. That's a forward/center taking that 3, and then Willoughby trips up Eatman on the way through, and I think that's Willoughby's 3rd.
Yeah.
It is, and so we might see Seneca come out of the game. It hasn't been the best day for Seneca Willoughby.
Yeah.
The sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, spent his freshman year at Contra Costa College in California. He's traveled a long way across the country to play his college basketball.
If you were, you always want your worst night to be on your team's best, because obviously him not being at the races today isn't going to ruin this opportunity for the Wildcats. But, stranger things have happened any given night.
Spear at the line for a 1-and-1. And he missed the first one, but it's an offensive rebound for Eatman. Hans Lewis June for 3, too strong. Eatman another rebound. 3rd bite of the apple for the Rattlers on this possession. Lewis June with the reverse layup. Nice pass from Jalen Spear to find him cutting to the basket. Wildcats will just try and slow the game down. 10 minutes to go in the contest, up 78-57. High post, here's Tamara. Handoff, Dyson. Pick and pop, no good, left it short. And Dyson's really the only volume scorer left on the floor for the Wildcats. He's tying his shoe. And then Spear sees the empty spot of floor and scores a step back.
It's certainly not what your one of your best players to do in the middle of a defensive possession, but I guess if you're going to pick your battles, you choose it when you're up 20 plus.
Dyson around the screen, set by Tamara, throws it back for McIntyre. McIntyre lost the ball. Hans Lewis June the other way against McIntyre, goes to the lane and scores the bucket. Now the Rattlers play a little bit of full court press here.
And now
they've gotten 6 straight points.
The starters get back up. The heavy hitters, you'd say.
Into the paint, Tamara! Blocking foul, he'll go to the line as Coffey didn't get his feet set.
That's his 4th.
And that's the kind of set play you need when you are at a size disadvantage in the paint, right? Get the defenders to move, get the ball to your players on the move so they have an easier time putting that ball up instead of just going through traffic.
Yeah.
Yusuf Tamara has 2 points today, 1 of 2 from the field, and this is his first trip to the line.
I don't know.
And he missed the first one. On the season, actually, he has no free throws before today, so this is his first free throw attempts of the year for Tamara, originally out of Paris, France. First true college season at Northwest Kansas Tech. And has only played in now his 4th contest of the season, misses both. He played versus Purdue, Fort Wayne, UCF, and Mississippi State before today, but he's gotten some decent floor time this evening, Tamara. Yeah. Lewis June to the short corner, back out.
Great defensive possession. All of those rotations and switches working out, stopping them from being able to get that easy look as James Henderson Jr. comes in for Tamara.
That was Matthew Webster, the freshman from Dade City and Carrollwood Day School, in the game now for the Rattlers. He wears number 20. Coffey back to Webster.
That is a tall person.
Parker drives.
What a pass.
Lewis June into a double team. Matthews in and out, and it is Wildcat ball.
Thrown out towards the cheerleaders, who immediately avoid the ball.
FAMU on an 8-0 run over the past 3 minutes, while the bench players have been in the game for the Wildcats. Now Harmon back on the floor, hopefully to stabilize a little bit of this offense.
But we've seen them go on, the Rattlers go on an 8-0 run before, and then immediately kind of,
Zion Harmon, spin move, stop it, Zion.
Something like that happens, and then all of a sudden the energy shifts back for the Wildcats.
KJ Parker, the freshman out of Lakeland, and Winter Haven High School has the ball, hands off to Lewis June.
He's from Lake Worth.
Parker, back out Webster, no good. And the crowd expects the Wildcats to run in transition, but they're just trying to take time off the clock with a 19-point lead and 7.5 to go. Willoughby drives, kicks, corner, pocket is good for DJ Carter Hollinger. Call him 3J for that one. He actually leads the team in three-point percentage, if you can believe it or not. Wide open look, and it's missed by KJ, with 37% from 3 for DJ Carter Hollinger. Zion all the way to the cup, gets his shot partially blocked, and now he's slow to get up. And it's a 5-on-4 for the Rattlers the other way. Coffey steps into a 3 and drains it. Timeout, Bethune-Cookman. And Zion getting an earful from Coach Theus about taking time off the clock and finding good shots, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's always, as a former athlete, you never envy the guys getting yelled at the coach once you played any sport at a decently high level.
Sabrina, every time that the Wildcats put some of their bench players in, the Rattlers seem to make a little bit of a run. How do the Wildcats stabilize here in the last 6 minutes?
It's a very interesting play because when Coach had put in their bench players into play, I think the Rattlers was 6 points in the lead straight. So it's very interesting to see the different types of players that we have on our team. Maybe so if we work more on our defense with the bench players, see more of the defense or more, I don't know how to word to put it, just more cleaner if they work. I think things would, even out just a little bit. But I'm pretty sure towards the game, though, we're doing it right.
And we've seen the Wildcats go away from that kind of fast-paced style. Once they push the lead back to 20, it's now at 18, and they've used more half-court sets and tried to drain some clock a little bit, just trying to get out of here.
Right, same thing that the girls was doing in the game earlier before, so I see that with Coach. It's kind of very strategic how he plays the game, from the beginning of the first half of the game towards the second half of the game, how he, tends to fast break the team whenever they need to be, and how he slows it down to different types of areas, and when he uses zones and when he goes into mans. So I see that he's a very strategic coach, so and it's working out for the Wildcats, so we'll see what's next for the Rattlers, I guess.
Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at Nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And for the most part, Henson, the women's game was crazy and close, and both teams had a chance to win it. This game, the Wildcats took the bull by the horns with about 5 minutes in the first half and have just not looked back since.
Yeah, the women had the bull by the horns, and then they kind of let the bull run around for a little bit too long, and then they had to put it back in the reins. It was kind of awkward. But the men's team has kind of just thrown the bull back into the corner every time the bull tries to get, a little bit mad here.
A little bit of full court press, but the Wildcats break it. Jacoby Hetty is back on the floor for BCU. It's Willoughby, Dyson, James Henderson, DJ, and Hetty on the floor right now for the Wildcats. Carter Hollinger leaves the layup short.
Oh.
And then the Rattlers want to run the other way with Spear for the easy layup. Dyson through traffic, flashes through the lane, and we'll give it back to Seneca Willoughby to slow it down.
Kayla White did the exact same thing against them earlier today. That's kind of funny.
Dribble handoff to Deshaun, will reset. Dyson blows by the defender and rolls it in off the fingertips.
A pretty layup there, taking advantage of the mismatch, tying him with Reggie Ward Jr. for points.
It's Spear who's been the majority of the offense for the Rattlers, and then the other half of the Rattlers attack in Grant lays that one in. Grant's up to 17. Spear has 22, but nobody else in double figures for Florida A&M.
This two-pronged attack isn't really working as well as it could be. They're not taking advantage of the open looks that they're getting consistently enough.
Dyson into the paint. And a nice falling away, I guess we'll call that a layup from James Henderson. And then Seneca Willoughby turns the ball over. It's BCU ball. I looked down to get a note.
Yeah.
I didn't really see what happened there.
I think we both kind of went, oh, we're going to watch him come up court, and then Seneca does a good job getting back possession and then goes immediately to sit down. Kind of earn that rest, I guess, as Hetty looks to inbound the ball here.
Willoughby played 10 minutes tonight, more than his usual. Hetty, baseline, dancing against Lewis June, keeps the dribble going. Now he's got a fade away. Oh, he rolls it in off the rim.
That's a pretty shot, taking advantage of the mismatch that he got and making it.
4:35 to go. Spear, step back, swisheroo.
Wow. Kind of sounded like he didn't have grip on the floor for a little bit. As Jacoby Hetty,
he gets fouled to go to the line.
That might be a flagrant.
A lot of, and I think they did call it. It gives the defibrillator celebration down low.
That's a little bit too much. You don't need to do all that. You're down. We understand you're frustrated, but no one wants to see anybody get hurt, and that's what that can end up resulting in.
The refs are talking about it. They may go back to this and look. It is a flagrant. So Hetty will shoot and then get more shots for the shooting foul. And he gets the first one. Jalen Spear coming into the game, averaging just 10 points a game. And he has blown that out of the water up to 24, for a season high in points for Jalen. But outside of him and Grant, the Wildcats have kept everybody, especially Keith Lamar, who's averaging 14.5, in check tonight.
Yep. And that was definitely the offensive plan. Same thing with the women's team. If you keep their best player from really getting into the game, you're going to have an easier time of it. Even if they have somebody else who picks up scoring, not having that main player is going to mess up their overall scoring output.
2 shots and possession, excuse me, not 4 shots, my bad. Uh-oh, Zion Harmon gets his defender tied up in knots and scores the reverse layup.
June tried to block it, but ended up with his hand inside of the basket. So obviously,
that's a bump underneath and the bucket for Jalen Spear. And he's just gonna keep going to that same drive with the left hand every time, and it's gonna keep scoring as Elijah Hulsey gets set to check back in for the Wildcats.
James Henderson Jr. frustrated by that foul. He knew better, kind of just put his leg up to try to land and gets that foul called. But it's still a 21-point lead.
We go to the, sorry about
19-point lead rather.
We go to the final media timeout. Sabrina, what do the Wildcats have to do to just kind of settle down and close this one out?
Run the clock at this point, or just make sure that they're, wasting time in the right ways where, they're giving all the other players an equal amount of time to shoot. But it kind of seems like Spear, number 50 on the FAMU team, it seems like he's been doing a lot of work. 24 points along with Grant, the underdog that I, said earlier before. Oh, 26, my mistake. So it just seems like he's really working to get the points back up. They're about 18 points down from catching up with the Wildcats. But if the Wildcats want to continue to keep this lead, they need to keep doing what they're doing. If the Rattlers need to continue to catch up to the Wildcats, they need to press a little bit more.
The Wildcats at 91 points with 3:56 to go. I'm not sure they'll score too many more points in this contest, but they have been, at times, a high-powered offense. 80 in the win against South Carolina State, not 79 against Charleston Southern, 96 against Incarnate Word, and then, of course, 100-plus against the two Trinities, 113 against Trinity College and 104 against Trinity Baptist. And last year in this game, in the spring here at Moore Gymnasium, the Wildcats hit a season high for points against FAMU to close out the regular season.
This team likes playing this FAMU team. Team of transition overall, and it loves to play in this transition type of ball, and that's why we're up 19. However, they're at the line here. There's still 4 minutes. So, a cold streak from the Wildcats and a couple of made threes, and that's all of a sudden only a 10-9-point lead, and then the game is within, a couple possessions. But for that to happen, the Rattlers have to be more offensively consistent, and the Wildcats have to be much worse defensively and offensively than they've been.
The Wildcats break the press pretty simply there. As Sabrina said, the Rattlers do go to the press to try and force some turnovers, but it is the A group, including Elijah Hulsey, back on the floor for Bethune-Cookman, as they'll just try and drain the sand through the hourglass. Screen and 3 for Zion. Been kind of a tough night shooting for Zion, even though he's got 14 points, just 6 of 12 and 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. It's really been the Deshaun Dyson show today. Hans Lewis, blocked by Hulsey at the rim. Zion gives up the layup, passes to Dyson for 3.
Nice offensive possession there. Jacoby Hetty, like 2 possessions ago, was calling for an alley-oop from Zion Harmon. Obviously didn't go through with it, but they're playing with fun. They're playing with fire right now. And they got the hot hand heading into this last couple minutes.
And Harmon, even though it's another triple from Spear, man, we cannot shut him down. But even though Zion has not had the most points scoring today, he's still found ways to contribute. He's got 11 assists with it to go along with his 14 points. Zion floater, back iron, no good. Just not his night shooting the ball, unfortunately. But the Wildcats have picked him up as he looks to pick Coffey's pocket. Nice move by Coffey to get away from two defenders. Lewis June for three.
And that's one
and
of
a quick 6-point run for FAMU. 94-79 timeout Rattlers.
That's one of the problems with that press. If it gets broken, especially when you overcommit like that, you think you're going to cause a turnover. They're definitely going to have someone open if you got two guys down court. It's just going to be something that happens. However, you know, you're going through this game, and the Wildcats have played very well offensively throughout. We've seen a lot of offensive consistency from Deshaun Dyson, from Reggie Ward Jr., who hasn't seen the court much on this tail end of this game. Jacob Hetty's played well. Harmon has been an offensive maestro even through a tougher shooting night. Elijah Holsay comes back in, a good block there. Hopefully that will get his confidence up throughout the rest of to close this game out and going into, you know, next week.
30 points for Jalen Spear is a new career high. Previously, it was a 24-point outing 2 years ago against South Carolina State. Again, Spear is a kind of an interesting case where he played his first two college seasons at FAMU, transferred to Santa Fe College, and then came back to finish his career for the Rattlers in his senior season.
It's interesting to think about what went into that decision process, because it's the same coaching staff, so likely just, I don't want to play behind this guy, I don't want to play on the bench, I'm going to go start somewhere and then come back possibly, something of that nature. But, you know, he's here, he's balling out tonight, but, you know, it's not been enough so far.
This game has been a game of runs. Another 6-0 run quickly for FAMU on the two triples by Spear, and the Wildcats just have had the better runs when they've come for them, especially when they've gotten that transition offense working. Now can they break the press? Harmon walks into the front court, 2:15 to go. Wildcats just looking to take 30 seconds off the clock with each possession. Dyson, defender in the air, pull up from the elbow, swish.
That's a pretty shot.
Dyson up to 28. He's closing in on 30 points, and I'm sure he wants to duel Jalen Spear for the highest scoring player in the game. As the Wildcats are closing in on triple digits. Miss underneath, but a foul late called as Grant goes to the cup.
Jose's confused, bemused, all types of stuff by the basket right now as Grant gets sent to the line. And Grant really, I don't think has been maximized here throughout this game. You know, you have a guy who has shown that, you know, he can be a force down there. He's moved a lot of our players. He's stopped defensive possessions. They're just kind of using him leisurely, not as if he isn't scoring or anything. It's 17 points, second most on the team, but it just feels like if they used him more and he had a higher usage throughout this game, we're talking about a different situation.
And the Wildcats turn it over as Reggie Ward steps out of bounds, trying to break the press.
And Coach Diaz tells him, just catch the ball. You don't have to immediately try to bust out your dribble moves, man. Just catch it so he can break the press.
The Rattlers shot 42% from the floor in the first half. They're shooting 65 in the second. That's a great pass to find Spear as Dyson falls down. They're going to press again, 96-82 with 1:26 left. Wildcats should still have this one well in hand as Dyson goes by Parker, floater, and whereas Zion Harmon can't buy a basket, Deshaun Dyson can't miss a basket. It's a 30-piece for Dyson.
Yeah. Kind of goes, anything you can do, I can do better after that made layup by Spear.
Almost a turnover, but Reggie Ward can't keep his feet.
Jacob.
Hetty, excuse me, can't keep his feet in bounds.
All types of out of bounds. Hetty was there.
1 minute remaining.
Only thing in bounds was his hands. Oh.
And not sure who that foul's going to be on.
Harmon, I think. Yep.
That's a two-shot penalty.
Shots.
The Wildcats have 10 fouls as Harmon, I guess they'll say he pushed off to try and grab the inbounds pass and send Coffey to the line. Hulsey for Bethune-Cookman has 4 fouls. Coffey and Chapman for FAMU has 4 fouls. Nobody has fouled out.
And Hulsey goes out with his 4 fouls, catching some more rest on the bench.
Hulsey 5 points, 2 of 2 from the floor, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, but 4 fouls, but 100% on every shot he's attempted today. They just haven't really been able to get him into a lot of shooting situations.
He had those early shots, and then it didn't really work out afterwards. He kind of took that first half off, and it certainly made it harder for him to keep scoring.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU basketball, follow at BCU Hoops on Twitter and Instagram. You're also going to want to give the ladies a follow at BCU WBB. And I'm sure the socials have gone crazy today with highlight clips and score updates and everything else, and you'll want to head to bcuathletics.com this evening for a full game recap of both of our games today. The women squeaked by. The men have been more in control here in the second half. They outscored FAMU 54-33 in the first half. It's been 51-44 for the Rattlers in the second half, with the Wildcats' foot fully off the gas for the last 10 minutes or so.
And when you're firmly off the gas, it's still within striking distance of the other team. That really shows you how the other team's been playing and how well that the Wildcat offense has been.
This is just the start of conference play. We get a home doubleheader next week. Grambling State on the 13th and Southern on the 15th. As we get 3 straight home games to close out conference play, or to open up conference play here on the CatEye Network. No fouls from the Rattlers. Dyson into the front court, 50 seconds left.
Still running plays here.
The Wildcats can take 20 more seconds off it. They're just gonna go to a high ball screen action to run some clock. Hetty, floater off balance, no good. Parker with open space to run into, and he misses the layup. Offensive rebound for Chapman, and he is fouled. And the Wildcat bench doesn't like that one. They thought that DJ Carter-Hollinger was straight up.
Yeah.
But the referee said he came down over the top of him.
I mean, at this point, you got to call them, obviously. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but at a certain point, it's like, all right, guys, we're calling that one? Okay. But, except for his stats.
Chapman
makes that low.
Has been in some foul trouble today. 4 fouls for him, only 3 points. Just 1 field goal attempt, and now his second trip to the free throw line for a man that just averages 3.1 points per game, originally from Bessemer, Alabama. Wildcats call another timeout, and with 27 seconds left, I'm not sure why, if I'm Coach Theus, I'm calling this one.
Maybe to practice a play and game situation. That's the only one I can really think of. Because you can yell at him after the game if you really have to yell about it, something. It's 20-some seconds left. But he certainly is yelling about something.
Now, 26 seconds left. Do the Wildcats just get it across half court and hold, or do they try and put one more basket in to go to triple digits?
I'm pretty sure they're putting one more basket in. I could kind of see Theus pointing at his whiteboard. I don't know if the people at home can see it, but I mean, that's the only reason to really call timeout in this situation, is if you're going to run a play or something of that nature.
The Wildcats will improve to 6-8 and 1-0 in SWAC play. The Rattlers will fall to 2-10 and 0-1 in conference as some of the crowd starts to file towards the exits here at Moore Gymnasium. It's been a great crowd for both games. I was shocked by the stands being full for the start of the women's game, and the Wildcat Nation has brought the noise today in Moore Gymnasium.
Respecting women's hoops in Moore Gymnasium. As I think a set play is going to be
Nope.
no.
Coach Diaz calls to just hold the ball. 13 seconds left. He will not go for 100 points. And this one belongs to the maroon and gold. It's a Wildcat sweep over Florida A&M here at Moore Gymnasium.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you don't want any problems, you know, rivalry stuff. You don't want anybody getting into a fight or something. That's the only thing like, in that situation, I guess to, you know, hold the ball, don't score any more points, you know, we're up, whatever. But, you know, interesting situation, timeout, whatever, non-factor. Game ends all the same. And as you said, belongs to the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman University.
98-86, your final score. For the last time today, we go to Saprita Petit Home. What are your thoughts on today's game?
This just was the battle of the better team, and the Wildcats came up on top. It just showed, honestly, to me, it just showed a lot of sportsmanship because they could have did the last 13 seconds and made a play and went to 100. But the fact that they just kept it at 98 was really a good call. But it was a great, great game between both teams. They both had their players that did things. Both had mistakes, but you know the Wildcats came up on top. Coach's style is different. And, you know, you see what works and you see don't. Just get back better for the next one.
The Wildcats 1-0 in the SWAC, but tougher tasks lie ahead, especially next weekend with Grambling and Southern coming into town. But that's next weekend. This is this weekend, and it's a Wildcat sweep on day one of SWAC play. Here are your scoring totals for the contest. A career-high 32 for Jalen Spear. Grant had 18. Coffey got into double figures with 13. Lamar had 9. Lewis June also had 9. Chapman 3 and Parker 2. Eatman, Webster, and Schramm played but did not score. For the Wildcats, Deshaun Dyson had a 30-piece of his own. 30 points on 11 of 22 shooting. 5 of 11 for three-point range. Ward at 21. Hetty 17. Harmon 14 and 10 for a double-double. Pulse 5. Carter Hollinger 4, McIntyre 3, Tamara and Henderson 2. Wildcats were actually out-rebounded by the Rattlers in the game, 31-28 and 8-6 on the offensive glass, but they forced 16 Florida A&M turnovers, right in line with their season average of forcing 19 turnovers per game. 4 blocks to 1 for Bethune-Cookman. Off of those 16 turnovers, the Wildcats got 28 points off of turnovers, but limited the Rattlers to just 9 points off of 10 Bethune-Cookman turnovers. Fast break points, 34 for the Wildcats, 22 for the Rattlers. Bethune-Cookman racked up 14 steals, which is right on their season average and continues to be the best in the conference. 50 points in the paint for Bethune-Cookman, most of that on the fast break points, dunks, and layups. And second chance points, 16 for BCU, 9 for the Rattlers, which is impressive considering we were out-rebounded on the offensive glass.
Yep, I mean, this has been an amazing performance for the Wildcats. I mean, rebounding-wise, obviously you want to win that battle more. But that's the only real nitpick thing you might have. You let off the gas in the second half. That's why the score is kind of closer. Everyone played really well. Deshaun Dyson had a career night, or at least a night for his highlight reel. That Reggie Ward Jr. dunk is going to replay in my head for the rest of the week.
The Jacoby Hetty reverse jam.
I mean, just a lot of cool basketball stuff happened this game, and alley-oop and all. So, you know, as we serenade you as this game closes out here in Moore Gymnasium. Final score, 98-86. W for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, continuing to be undefeated at home in both women and men's basketball.
Which is a far cry from the last 2 years when, you know, the Wildcats have been up and down for both men's and women's programs. Women's on a really hot trajectory. Men's hoping to get there maybe this year, maybe next year, but it's a good start to conference play for Bethune-Cookman. That'll do it for us here at Moore Gymnasium. For CatEye Network, Director Eugene Robinson, producer Chris Shaw, our analysts Henson White and Sabrina Petit-Homme. My name is Michael Turillo saying thank you so much for watching our doubleheader broadcast of Bethune-Cookman University Athletics on the CatEye Network. We will see you next Saturday as the Wildcats welcome in Grambling State. So long.